Welcome back to another game of Flesh and Blood, classic constructed here in Jyväskylä. This match is between Sir Boltyn, Breaker of Dawn, who is a light warrior. That reads, if you've charged this turn, your attacks get +1 while defended by an attack action card. Charge is an ability that is available on some cards, which means that you put a card from your hand into your soul, which means that you put a card underneath your hero. And there it will sit until there is some other effect that will remove it from underneath the hero or from your soul. So, putting cards, charging means you're filling up this resource, so to speak, cards in soul. And then the second ability of Sir Boltyn here, attack reaction, banish a card from Boltyn's soul, target attack with power greater than its base gets go again. So there's a bit of natural synergy between the first and the second ability here. First one enables a +1 if they're defending with attack actions, and the attack reaction allows you to give go again. And on the other side we have Rhinar, Reckless Rampage, the original brute hero. Whenever you discard a card with 6 or more during your action phase, intimidate, which means that they have to banish a random card until the end of the turn. So Boltyn is going to start off here with an aura of sorts. I believe that is Blessing of Bellona. So that can make courage. And there is an attack here. Beaming Bravado. So coming in, it charged a card into soul there, which I believe was a card that created a courage token when charged. So there was 2 courage tokens. Rhinar defends and wants to make an agility token. Good thing to do on the first turn as Rhinar by discarding Agile Windup. Classic turn on the turn 0 play. The agility token, of course, granting go again here to the first attack. Boltyn setting up the soul is important part of the job here. So Wild Ride. This one gets go again from the agility, but it will still do draw and discard to potentially cause an intimidation. Indeed, Bare Fangs is discarded, so Rhinar's ability triggers, making one card go to the banish zone, meaning it is not available for defending or any other things on this turn. But Rhinar will get it, Boltyn will get it back at the end of this turn. So Wild Ride is attacking here for 6 with go again. Boltyn is happy to do some defending here. But I am by no means no expert on these heroes, but I believe Boltyn is quite comfortable defending in many situations, since it's not always a given that every card is useful in every situation. It's not. I don't think it's the type of deck where you just send everything all the time, because there is this little thing. You need soul, you need charge cards. Yeah, you need to kind of put things together. So sometimes they're happy to defend, and I think most of their cards defend for 3 anyway. And then we see a send packing. This attacks for 6 and banishes a card from Arsenal. So if if this hits, that card is not coming back. Boltyn chooses to leverage some armor pieces here. And defense. Everything. So, Arsenal card comes back. And I believe that is another Beaming Bravado. Although, in yellow. In yellow. Yellow version there. Here is an engulfing light. Thanks to these courage tokens, it does charge that Beaming Bravado that came back to hand. So this is coming in for 6, and of course Boltyn's ability could. Yep, Rhinar chooses no blocks, and it goes to Soul. And it was given go again as an attack reaction there from Sir Boltyn's ability. So Duskblade comes in. Raiden, Duskblade normally only attacks for 0, but if you've charged, it gets +3. Duskbane, sorry. A little bit of defense here on the chest piece. Savage Sash, perhaps indicating that might be utilized this turn. Its ability will destroy it, so it's good to do some defending before you do so. Here we see Bloodrush Bellow, a brute classic that was commonly utilized alongside Mandible Claw prior to KO going Living Legend. So, I believe, yep, a card is intimidated off of the discarded card. And Bloodrush Bellow gets go again and draws 2 cards. So now brute attacks have +2 this turn. And perhaps the Savage Sash could give them all a nice discount. Sequencing the right cards with Rhinar can be quite tricky, since some of them will discard some of the others, and some of them could be a bit random. So you have to weigh your options. There's also the option of utilizing scab skin maulers. Okay, so we see a pulping here. A handy go again card, or it should be able to get go again under normal circumstances. Discard is a random drawn discard. That was a 6, so it gets Dominate. Therefore, should also be able to get go again. Another intimidation trigger from Rhinar there. That can happen multiple times per turn. So only 2 cards left in hand to defend with. Boltyn has to carefully consider, can I afford to defend with these and then play the 2 that are coming back to my hand at the end step, or do I need to keep some of these as well in order for my hand to work out? We could see Boltyn potentially going for a slow game leading up to a potential really big combo turn, since Boltyn has access to some cards that can have some huge that you can set up for a really big turn if you take the game slow and plan things carefully, filling up your soul and using the soul cards as fuel for certain synergies. So that could be what we're seeing here from Sir Boltyn. Of course, sometimes you don't get to defend as much as you want against Rhinar. Here we see some kind of card. I do not recognize this card, I'm afraid. Quicken token. That's possibly the boots. Not quite sure exactly what's going on here, but some damage went through, and there's presumably some kind of aura. Aha. Is it this one? Possibly. Yeah, I think so. Yes, so this one enables Lumina Ascension to be played as an instant, which is one of those power cards that Boltyn has access to. So here we have an attack. Light the way. So this got go again from that quicken token, which I believe the boots created. This Warpath of Winged Grace. So here I believe Light the Way should be attacking for a 3. Rhinar trying to piece together a functional hand. Sometimes as Rhinar you need to do some blocking to get rid of some cards you might not want to be discarding, or, well, just aren't able to use because of lack of go again. Rhinar, compared to some other brutes, or at least KO, doesn't always play go again cards aplenty. And sculpting the right discard can enable some cool synergies as well. Vigorous smash up defends and creates a vigor token for Rhinar. Right, we did see a Gold Kiss Rum token created earlier there while I was trying to figure out what was going on. This one can give go again on demand. A very useful tool to have. This was created by discarding sea legs. Yeah, so that was defended, and Duskbane comes in for 4, thanks to Boltyn's ability. So 1 damage went through there. As a reminder, when you defend with attack action cards, you risk Boltyn getting a little bit of extra value from his hero ability. Ravenous Meat Axe attacks here. This will draw and discard a random card, and could potentially get plus something or other. Sea Legs is discarded, creating another Gold Kiss Rum token. And there's 1 intimidation there. I'm not sure if we saw any go again from Rhinar here, so possibly just going to arsenal this last card. Golkis Rum would have been available to give that axe go again, but presumably Rhinar had other plans. Take Flight in the red variety comes in here. I believe we saw a charge. So this is coming for 4. Or was there no charge? I'm not sure. Well, 4 damage is 4 damage. Wild Ride wants to get go again by discarding something with power 6 or more power. Rhinar decided to keep all the cards, so presumably there's no chance of... Oh, Beast Within. Great card to discard here. That creates a trigger. Right, there's also the Rhinar trigger on the discard. The Beast Within goes ahead and finds another attack. Right. So Wild Ride is 6 go again. Helm of Halo's Grace defends. Rhinar still has 3 cards in hand and 1 in arsenal. Perhaps we'll see some Gold Kiss Rum being utilized to use all of these cards. Indeed, Gold Kiss Rum is used tapping Rhinar, who is now, or maybe not. Ah, right. First Savage Sash activation, because otherwise the Savage Sash would have eaten up the rum effect, because it is an action. And now Rhinar is drunk. All the attack action cards cost 1 less, or those with 6 or more, which should be most of them. Show of Strength. A quite powerful one. This only costing 1 in this situation. An 8 powered attack. That could go again. Bare Fangs from Arsenal there. Also costing 1 in this situation. And also coming in for 8. Quite a power turn here from Rhinar. 6 into 8 into 8. And discard intimidating 2 cards. And Boltyn goes down. Then to 9 life. Did not want to give up any cards here, so presumably we might see something equally frightful in return. Considers an Engulfing Light here. Oh, decides to play an Aura. The Courage thingy. And then the Engulfing Light. Which I believe charged an instant from hand there. So 3. When this hits, put it into your soul. And if it's defended by an attack action card, it will become 4, and then Boltyn can use an attack reaction to give it go again. Use his hero ability. So this is something you don't really want to defend with attack action cards, if you can avoid it. But Boltyn does have access to other tricks to give power in the reaction step. And here we see... what's that card? I believe this is Beacon of Victory. So X was something or other. And this searched out a Lumina Ascension. And that is a heck of a power card for Boltyn. Playable at instant speed thanks to the item thingy. So this is kind of an engine piece that allows your weapons to do many things. It gives... Alright, so a flurry token here is created by this Oath Edict of Steel. So then attacking with Duskblade now means that Flurry means that it can attack a second time this turn, and we know that Lumina Ascension allows it to attack an additional time as well. So here we have a sword coming for 6 at the moment, which can be given go again, and also +1 from Lumina Ascension, and when it hits it can gain a life. Well, let's just look at Lumina Ascension again here. It can put a card into soul and gain a life, presumably. And then the sword can attack once more after that. And it will still have that +1 counter from the sharpen effect. So I believe the next attack would be for 5 after this. Alright, the first attack here is for 6 with the courages. Second attack will be for... well, yeah, there will be more sword swings is the point here. But blocking them allows you to prevent some of the things. So we gain +1 from Sir Boltyn's ability, +1 from Lumina Ascension here, so it goes up to 8, and I believe it's currently being defended for 7. So 1 damage would come through here. So the on-hit effect puts a card into soul and gains a life. That also makes a courage token from this Blessing of Bologna. That's also a good synergy I didn't think of when I saw this here. So this next sword attack is now also 6. Sometimes it's a bit hard to get track of which effects apply to the individual sword attacks and which apply to the sword in general. I believe it's only the... or... I'm not sure. Well, it's 6 here. It's Boltyn's... yes, this is the Lumina effect. The flurry token... sorry, Lumina, sharpened counter, and courage, which are 3 individual pumps for +1. And then Duskbane, of course, gets its own 3. So this is coming for 6, and if it's defended... if an attack action card is used to defend here, of course, that would mean it would go up to 7. So some really awkward breakpoints being presented here. And the life gain, of course, is nice as well. So it can attack an additional time after this, thanks to Lumina Ascension. This is the attack that was enabled by the Flurry token, specifically. It's given go again with here Boltyn's ability, which can be used multiple times per turn. It's quite handy. So now the last one here is coming for 5. Right, because it didn't hit, so there was no additional charge here, so no courage token. And then the last card revealed was not a light card, so didn't get that final point of life and final charge in instance. Yeah, it was a regular warrior card. So yeah, there we saw a Lumina Ascension turn here. a lot of attacks and a lot of things to think about with how what happens when you hit and all that stuff. Especially with that aura in play, the Blessing of Boltyn. Ravenous Meataxe is the answer here. Just a simple pitch one card and attack for 5 with a little bit of Intimidate. So Rhinar wanting to keep up a little bit of pressure. Bolt of Courage comes in. I believe it charged a card as well. With the Courage token, it's 4. Already able to get go again with Sir Boltyn's ability. When it hits, draw a card is a potent on hit effect here. I believe we are now doing some analysis because that last card in the hand could be an Edict of Steel that was revealed earlier, if I'm not utterly mistaken. Well, we shall see. When you have life totals like this, we're really kind of approaching the end game with heroes like these. These are both perfectly capable of blasting through really quite a lot of damage in a single turn, if things line up the right way. The question is who gets to do that first. So this is defended with a clash card. So Vigor token goes to Rhinar. Boltyn gives go again to the attack and decides to send the sword here for 3. Rhinar does not want to block that. So 3 damage comes through. And the last card goes to Arsenal. Rhinar wants to go again here, uses the Gold Kiss Rum token to play a Savage Feast. This is another one that is very happy to be granted go again. Somehow, because it can discard a card and there's an Intimidate there. Then it gets to draw a card. Played off of the Vigor resource here. 1 card for defense here. Something that charges. Yeah, there we go. Saving Grace. A defense reaction there that charges. Created a Courage token thanks to the charged card. Toe the Line. A recent addition to the warrior class here that will create a flurry token when it prevents its 2 damage. Flurry token. I might not have shown it earlier. It gives a second attack to a weapon. Very nice about this that you can leave it around and whenever you attack with a weapon, that's when it actually applies its effect. Unlike some other tokens that destroy themselves at the start of turn. Flurry and Courage both share this attribute. Edict of Steel here. Sharpens a sword. Makes a second flurry. And then the turn was ended. Right, there was no access to charge there, so Duskbane, not a very useful attack when you haven't charged. Even though the Sharpen did give it a plus counter, it's not the great way to utilize your flurry tokens. Rhinar here needs to pitch a couple of red cards to send this wild ride. Would probably have hoped for a resource card to pitch instead, but there we are. So we see one Intimidate and one to go again. Thank you. So there we are. 6 go again. With Boltyn at 7 life. Oh, and there's the Saving Grace again. Charges a card here, so effectively defending for a total of 5. Well, of course, expending the other card. And here is what is this? Light the Way. This one. I don't think this was charged. I could be wrong. But there is a Courage token giving it +1, and so we can give it go again with Boltyn's ability. It's a bit of multitasking here when I'm finding these cards for the previews, so sometimes I miss things. Could be that there was a card charged here. If so, that would mean the weapon is very much in effect here. Boltyn here is probably waiting to, or wanting to get a copy of Lumina Ascension available, and then be able to play a turn where you can use Lumina Ascension to attack multiple times with Duskbane and with Raiden, to threaten a lot of damage in one turn. But not always so easy to do these kind of things when you're at 7 life and need to make sure that you don't die. Yeah, threatening to send a little bit of damage. Rhinar taking some time to think, is there a way I can finally close out this game here, or do I need to take it a little bit slower and to bide my time? Sometimes it's easy to see red when you see your opponent as at low life and try to just desperately send the damage, and that can sometimes not work out. This is defended, and 2 damage comes through. Yes, okay, so there was a charge this turn, so Duskblade is... Duskbane, Raiden, is now attacking. And the Flurry token was activated, so it will have a second attack. If there is some kind of way of giving it a go again, which of course there is on Sir Boltyn. So we're looking at least 2 weapon attacks this turn. For 3, or if defended by an attack action card, of course it goes up to 4. I believe that was no blocks declared, and Lumina Ascension here gives +1 and this scary on-hit effect. Puts a light card into soul, gains a life, and a second attack comes in. Lumina Ascension, of course, having go again means that you don't need to use Boltyn's ability, because when you play an action with go again at instant speed, you still get the go again action point. So it's go again here, and the third attack that was granted by Lumina Ascension comes in for 4 more damage, and that hits right on through and charges another card to gain another life. And suddenly the life totals are looking quite different. As you can see, the power of Lumina Ascension is quite apparent here for Boltyn. It is very powerful card. Especially when you already have a flurry token, you have ways to attack even more times with a weapon and get more of those juicy weapon attacks with the on hit of charging your soul and gaining the lives. Simply our meat axe here in return from Rhinar, trying to get these efficient 1 card 5 power attacks to maybe grind out the game before Boltyn is able to send another Lumina Ascension turn. But of course, on that turn, Rhinar didn't have that much of a choice. He needed to defend to stay alive, so. Beating Bravado. Yeah, that charged a yellow card, so it's 4. And of course, thanks to ample supply of cards in Soul, this can be granted. Go again as an attack reaction. This is defended. Give and go again. And here's the sword for 3. When Boltyn has a big stack of cards in Soul, it becomes a lot easier to simply use this sword as a extra 3 damage. As long as you're able to charge, you can play fairly efficient attacks such as this, where you have 1 card played and 1 card put into Soul to send 4 and then 3. All the while threatening to make your opponent's life a little bit more awkward if they have to block with attack action cards. And as Rhinar here, of course, you have to confront the possibility that there's another Lumina Ascension lurking in the hand. Not a nice position to be in. Here we see Boltyn giving go again, and some kind of attack. Battlefield Beacon. Right. So Boltyn's ability was activated a bunch of extra times to make that Battlefield Beacon do a bunch of things. So it created 3 courage tokens. So simply just a way to dump some cards from Soul to get more stuff done. Oh, actually, yeah. That might be 3 toughness tokens being represented there by those shield thingies as well. Toughness token gives +1 when defending here. This was defended with the toughness tokens. That means that V for the Vanguard defended for all of the damage of that axe. Now it's Boltyn's turn. Bolt of Courage. Charging a card for a scary on-hit draw a card effect. And with the courage tokens, it's already coming for 6. Very awkward to block here. If you have attack action cards, it will go up to 7, so... And there was a defense reaction. Reckless Swing coming in to cover all of those damages. And also dealing some damage. Yeah, with go again on the first one there. Duskblade is coming in for its 3 damage. And a Lumina Ascension comes in here. So now that sword goes up to 5. It will hit. It will charge. It can attack an additional time. This time for 4. And there's no way to cover that. So Boltyn gets there thanks to the third and final Lumina Ascension. Yeah, so a bit hard to follow this game. I'm sorry. I'm not an expert on Boltyn cards specifically, and there's quite a lot of effects, even cards that do things when you charge them, and yeah, it can be a bit hard to keep track of. But Lumina Ascension there is kind of this big power card that I can show you again, so we can just kind of end on that note. So there, it gives your weapons +1 for the entire turn, and also this on-hit effect that reveals the top card of the deck. If that is a light card, that is put into your soul and you gain a life. Otherwise it goes to the bottom. And then it says if you've charged, you may attack an additional time with each weapon you control. So, and thanks to this, what is that called? Spirit of Rhinar. I believe Rhinar is Boltyn's ex-wife or dead wife or something. When you have that item out, you can play Lumina Ascension as though it were an instant. And so this becomes a very potent attack reaction of sorts that can come as a surprise. A lot more scary than of course playing this as an action before you attack. Yes. So effectively, if you're fully blocking the sword, and then this could get a +1, the sword hits, gains another life, and gets to attack another time for 4, or maybe even more. So this reaction here is can represent something in the at its very basic usage. It gives +4 damage and gain 1 to 2 lives. That's of course only in the simplest scenarios. As we saw earlier, it was used alongside a flurry token and the aura that gives you extra courage whenever you charge or whenever a card is put into your soul. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you found this game interesting. I think it's always fun to see these matchups where there's some decks that are not the most popular and that have a lot of interesting effects. Right. Thanks for watching. Bye.